Hi, I'm Leeza Steindorf, and I'm super excited to share with you today about the program Learning Peace and the offering through UnitusTI. But first, I'd like to introduce myself so you know who I am. I'm a certified mediator, a group facilitator and trainer, and communication and conflict resolution instructor at the university. And I'm also an executive coach on the Forbes Coaches Council and an award-winning author of peace education and personal empowerment books for educators and parents. And I'd like to share with you today about a program that is uniquely impactful. And it's also so very necessary to help us get out of and move far beyond the chaotic and conflictual environment that we find ourselves in the world today. Since learning peace, it's an acronym, PEACE stands for Learning Personal Empowerment and Conflict Expertise. But before I get into the details of the program, I'd like to share with you why I actually developed this program and share it with such genuine enthusiasm. So, as a young girl, my father returned from the Vietnam War truly shattered, and he was riddled with unpredictable rage. And now they recognize it as PTSD, but at the time, nobody spoke about how those horrific experiences in war came home and anchored themselves in people's minds and hearts long after they left the war zone. So I was brought up in a home where punishment was considered to be discipline and violence was considered the way to communicate. And yeah, as a young person, that was devastating. And it took me literally decades to heal, to come to like myself and to learn how to communicate in healthy and effective ways, also how to discipline my children with respect, and how to be in healthy relationships with other people and with myself. So, over those years of learning and growth, I coalesced best practices of self development, communication, conflict resolution, and collaboration. And through my work as a young teacher, I was introduced to a program that I later developed into what is now known as Learning Peace. And what I most love about this program personally is that it works. I mean, seriously, it works on both the individual level and the organizational community level. The tools, the insights, the lesson plans and activities, they've all helped me and thousands of others all over the world, really, to build a strong sense of self-worth, to build strong relationships, and to create respectful, healthy, thriving environments for learning and for growth. So Learning Peace is both comprehensive as well as detailed. It's very practical. It provides practical tools for teachers and students, parents, school systems, and therapeutic organizations. So in 6 very unique yet interwoven modules, each in itself is a distinct program that can be taught independently, Learning Peace teaches the fundamental skills of getting to know oneself and one's own value, of understanding and regulating one's emotions, of understanding other people's emotions, of building self-confidence and self-esteem, of appreciating others and celebrating all of our differences that we come with as humans. And it also uses communication to teach us how to communicate with each other clearly, respectfully, and honestly. So Learning Peace teaches us how to be solution-oriented, to navigate conflict actually really well and with more ease, and to develop collaborative abilities. And all of that lets us live healthier and more positive lives for ourselves and actually with each other. So again, I can tell you it works. I am living proof, and so are thousands of others. And I'd like to give you an overview of the program in its entirety, but briefly, and how you'll be able to utilize it as it's being offered to you through the amazing cloud program at UnitusTI. So Learning Peace is comprised of 6 building blocks, 2 of which are foundational for the other 4, although they can all be taught independently and in differing order. And it's also important to note that this program is completely adaptable and also very useful for neurodivergent audiences who have varying abilities and special needs. The content can not only be adapted for those classrooms or for those groups, but it is also incredibly useful for people that have differing nervous systems and are challenged in ways that neurotypical people are not. And the 6 of them cover just about every facet of being a happy human and of living well with others. Really, it's all in there in one way or the other. Each one of the modules is broken down the same way. There's two parts. The first part is theoretical, with concepts and stories, with experiences and quotes and different references to learning materials or to books that'll be of use to you in that particular subject. And then the second part is lesson plans. So we begin with Lessons in Living. It's a module that focuses first on self and then on how to live well with one another. It teaches us about emotional intelligence, mindfulness, respect, teamwork, and understanding and celebrating our differences as humans. It is grounded in humanistic psychology, so Rogerian psychology, the genius of non-judgment, and the practical application of psychological safety. So that's Lessons in Living. The next building block is building self-esteem. And this module teaches us how to celebrate our strengths and how to strengthen our weaknesses, how we can stop comparing ourselves to others. And it zeroes in on three specific facets of strong self-esteem: being unique, our personal power, and our connection with others. It is grounded in the understanding that every person is innately good, and recognizing that is the greatest contribution to a positive life and healthy social environment. Then we have Discipline with Dignity, and this module teaches us that all rights also have responsibilities, how to create rules that are reasonable, both with and for the people that will be adhering to them, how to distinguish punishment from consequences, and eliminate anger and punitive behaviors from a process that is actually intended to be educational. So Discipline with Dignity is grounded in the understanding that everyone is doing their best given their current understanding and abilities, and that discipline should be respectful and can be executed with dignity. Okay, then we have conflict resolution and violence prevention. And this module is really both practical and inspirational at the same time. It teaches us the difference between conflict and opposing opinions, right? You can have opposing opinions without having conflict. The foundations of effective communication, like engaged listening, transparency, honest feedback. And it provides concrete tools to resolve conflicts when they do arise. So conflict resolution and violence prevention is grounded in nonviolent communication and the traditional steps of the mediation process. Next, we have Abolishing Bullying. And this module teaches us about the different parties involved in a bullying situation. It teaches us how to recognize bullying and differentiating it from conflict. It provides steps to deal with bullying and educates on when it is safe to take a stand and when it is mandatory to report, when that's safer. And it also teaches us how to do all that. So abolishing bullying is grounded in the best practices of identifying, dealing with, and eliminating bullying from any person's life and from any setting. And finally, we have peer mediation. This is a standalone module that can be established within the school or organization where peers learn both how to be in the role as a mediator, as well as taking a much deeper dive into the steps of the mediation process and the intention of the mediation process. So peer mediation is grounded in best practices of adult and youth-led mediation programs. So at this point, I'd like to point out, and each of the modules has a plethora of lesson plans that you can just plug and play. You are given what materials you'll need, what age group you'll be talking to, exactly how to execute the lesson plan. There are questions in there that you can utilize. There's also an appendix with different pictures, with surveys, with questions that you can use in asking the people that are participating. So the program is very detailed in its application. That individually, each of these modules is transformative in its ability to help individuals identify behavior, redirect frustrations and challenges into pro-social outcomes. And alone, each of the modules has far-reaching impact. It helps people work together, live together well, learn together, and get along. Yet woven all in one, having all those 6 modules woven together, they energize and equip an educational or therapeutic organization to radically transform into or vastly uplevel an existing respectful, healthy, and thriving environment. So, in closing, I'd like to just share a bit of the background of the program. It started actually in a classroom in Nova Scotia, Canada, by a teacher who was committed to a different way of learning and teaching and being, and who began teaching her students one lesson at a time, one day at a time, how to be kind to themselves, how to be kind to each other, how to get along well, and how to learn well. So, collaborating with that amazing teacher, who later became my business partner and is now deceased, I brought the program to Northern Europe, where I was living and teaching myself in elementary school. And I was so impressed with the practicality of developing personal empowerment and learning conflict expertise in a spirit of goodwill that I worked really diligently and tirelessly, if you will, to build it out into the robust program that it is today for schools, for teachers, students, parents, counselors, therapists, and trainers. And in Germany, learning peace gained such momentum and acclaim that it was featured in Psychology Today, and it was endorsed by multiple university department chairs of education, and a national TV station produced a program focused solely on the impact of learning peace and how it can shift the reigning atmosphere of contention and chaos in many schools to an atmosphere of productive education and emotionally intelligent, pro-social learning environments. So then, once again, living here in North America, I have had the delightful experience of joining forces with UnitusTI, a cloud publisher that is unique in its absolutely committed team, its groundbreaking cloud software, and its broad scope of therapeutic and educational programs, and its vast international reach. They include program and practice management features and can also organize your practice clinic or therapy center. And one of the greatest perks with UnitusTI is that no matter what field you're in or the size of your organization, they're able to monitor and supervise the use of Learning Peace or any of their programs with your staff. So if you're at all on the fence, I encourage you to jump off and dive in. There's nothing about this program that you would regret, and your time and energy investment is going to return to you manyfold in ways you cannot even begin to imagine. The world would be a much better place if we were all learning peace. So I invite you to book a demo, and I look forward to seeing you then in the program. Thank you for listening.